Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. We're entering week 10 of the NFL, and I've already been told that our predictions from last week apparently weren't that good, even though, to me, I thought it was going to be a pretty successful week. I got the Ravens, obviously a big pick, and moments like this, you kind of wish that impressive upset picks counted more than 1 point, but they don't. So, how's the results looking, Smokey?
Not good, not good. As you mentioned, we only disagreed on 2 games, and that happened to be the Titans and Panthers, which I took that one, and the Ravens and Patriots. You know, I really wanted to go with the Ravens, and it was a great game, and I love the outcome, but I did not have the guts to go with it, and you got that one. But overall, not a great week. We got 7 each, which brings our total.
Weak.
Yeah, it is. That's a 500 week right there. Yeah. This brings the total. I have 85.5. You have 88.5.
That's not good. Can't afford to have too many of those weeks.
No, not at all.
For sure. But we used to have like a week where we had like 14 points or something, but now all of a sudden it's like 7.
Oh, the week previous. Yeah, just 2 weeks ago.
It was great.
Yeah.
A lot of upsets. Chargers, Raiders. Who would have thought the Raiders win?
Oh,
Raiders are still... Somehow we're in week 10, the Raiders are still 500.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. But speaking of the Raiders, in the first game to predict it, as we're getting into the week 10 predictions, Chargers and the Raiders. Divisional game.
Man, well, with the way things have been going, this is kind of tough, right? I mean,
apparently, yeah.
I mean, on the one hand, we have the Raiders who are winning. I mean, they're pulling off wins that no one expects. Man, and then this is in Oakland. Well, yeah, they're still in Oakland. They're not in Las Vegas yet. Yeah. What am I thinking? On the other hand, San Diego does not exist anymore. The LA Chargers, no. I'm just beating around the bush. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm going with the Chargers on the road because I don't know what to make of the Raiders yet.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I couldn't look myself in the mirror if I picked the Raiders here, honestly. With everything I've been saying the entire year about how the Chargers are underrated and the Raiders are overrated and all, yeah, I have to pick the Chargers too. But I'm not as confident in this pick as I would like to be completely honest. I don't understand it. I don't understand how the Raiders win games. Yeah. I don't get how the Raiders are 500. They shouldn't be. Scientifically, the Raiders should not be 500. They shouldn't be anywhere near 500, but they are exactly 500 right now. Mm-hmm. And the Chargers are actually a bit worse than that so far. And they are going to go to 500 if they win, which I predicted they will. But and they have to, of course. If they have a shot at the playoffs, you got to beat Oakland. Because if not, then Oakland all of a sudden might be in a wild card hunt, which is crazy to think. But that's the way the AFC is looking right now. Mm-hmm. Chiefs and Titans.
Chiefs and Titans. You know what? Whether Mahomes is back or not, I don't think it's going to matter. We saw Matt Moore pull off the win this past week. And it was a close game. But you have to believe that if Patrick Mahomes was in that game, it would not have been close at all.
No.
So, going with the Chiefs, you know, I almost feel like also we made the mistake last week of picking a lot of road teams, and here I am doing it again this week.
But it's the Chiefs.
It is. It's the Chiefs, and it's the Titans who have looked decent, but got to go with the Chiefs here.
I mean, I have to agree with that. We don't know if Mahomes is playing at this point. But I think you said it really well. Even if he's not, the Chiefs might be less of a favorite, but they still are probably a favorite to win the game. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to agree with your pick there. I'm going to pick the Chiefs. Cardinals and Bucks.
Wow, this should be a good game right here. The Cardinals and the Bucks, they're very similar in a way, right? Isn't Kyler Murray what Jameis was 2 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
Well, 3. Yeah, 3. But either way. These teams resemble each other a lot, and it just so happens that the coach of the Bucks is the former coach of the Cardinals. So you would have to think he has some kind of insight in there on how to beat Cliff Kingsbury, easy for me to say, and this is going to be in Tampa Bay, so I am going with the Bucs at home.
All right. Well, Bruce Arians does know the Cardinals, but that system has been completely overhauled. I mean, that the knowledge that he still has from the Cardinals, that doesn't help him at all. Because it's looking completely different now.
A lot of the same players, though. I mean,
it's about Fitzgerald.
He drafted a lot of those players, by the way.
Yeah, he's eternal, of course, but the system is very different. The offensive system is very different.
True.
I'm probably go to the Cardinals. Both of those teams, by the way, are coming off of vastly overachieving last week and getting damn near to beating an elite team. Mm-hmm. So the Cardinals hold the 49ers to a 3-point game and on Thursday night, and Buccaneers took the Seahawks to overtime, which is both are incredible feats in their own right. So both teams overachieved last week. I got the Cardinals to win it. They look very, very good. I gotta say, I had to experience it on myself. You know, they played the Niners. They played by far their best game. I don't know why, but they looked like a playoff team.
Yes, they did.
They played really good. They played great defense. They scored points on the San Francisco defense that you don't really score points on with the rookie quarterback. Kenyon Drake was balling out. I mean, he looked like
who saw that
all pro. Incredible. People leave Miami. They start balling. We'll see it right-handed right now. Yeah. Kenyon Drake right now. Matt Moore. Everyone's leaving Adam Gase. They start balling. It's actually crazy. But I'll pick the Cardinals here. Don't want them to win, but I'm gonna have to pick up Jets and Giants, or Giants and Jets rather.
Speaking of Adam Gase, you know what? I really do not believe in Adam Gase. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but
I think you have.
I don't like this guy, and his system is trash. It really is. I mean, I think he'll be out. He'll be gone. He'll be done with the Jets in 2 years. One more season after this. Not even 2 years from now, but 2 seasons. I give it. That's it. He's going to be gone.
So he's getting one more?
I'm going with the Giants on this one on the road. Yeah, I think he will get. You don't think they'll give him 2 seasons?
I don't know. You think they'll give Freddie Kitchens another one?
Oh, no. How could they?
Yeah. I mean, okay, different situations there with the talent on the roster. And the expectations there. Give me the New York Jets in this matchup. That means yes. I'll take the better quarterback. Defenses are both terrible. Offensive lines both very questionable. Saquon Barkley's good.
We don't know that Darnold is the better quarterback here.
You might not know that. I'm fairly listen. I like Daniel Jones, right? But again, 3 years, first of all, is the magic deadline to evaluate a quarterback. But I've seen 3 years of college and NFL football from Sam Darnold that I did like. So I'm gonna go with the Jets in a game that should not be a very good one. Keys for the Giants though is run the football, man. Saquon Barkley is your best player. He's gonna be the best player on the field. Keep the ball in your own offense's hands and take down the clock as much as possible. That's a key to win the game for the Giants. I'll take the Jets anyway. Falcons and Saints. Oof.
Oh man, well here's the deal: the Falcons and the Saints are both coming off their bye weeks, right? The Falcons are going to.
That's about the only thing. That's about the only thing that those teams share right now.
All right, let me finish.
Okay.
Falcons are going to be really charged up, right? They're going to be ready to go out there and dominate this divisional matchup, man. Dude, even with Matt Schaub or Matt Ryan, they're both good. Either one is going to throw for 400 yards, and this is going to be a trap game right here. They're going down to New Orleans, and they're going to be ready to put one over on the Saints, right?
Okay.
So with all that being said, I'm taking the Saints at home.
I like the point you were making there. So you're from the South, right? So I believe around your parts, what they would say is "bless your heart." Because I really know you want to believe, right? But the bye week is the only thing that those teams are sharing right now. And listen, it's a divisional game. I know it'll be closer than it looks on paper.
Yes, it will.
If it was another 7-1 team and another 1-7 team, it would be not this exciting. It's not very exciting as it is. The Saints are going to win it. I'm going to pick the Saints. That being said, I'm rooting for your Falcons this week. Absolutely rooting for your Falcons this week because any loss in the NFC right now, I will take. Because the NFC is so competitive, and even at 8-0 right now, there's not even close to being locked into a first round bye other than the Niners right now. So I'll take a loss for the Saints any day of the week right now. Totally be cool with it. Bills and Browns.
Well, what's up with Baker, man? I don't know what to make of this kid. He come in this game. He showed up with a full beard. He starts the game with a Fu Manchu. And he goes to the press conference after the game looking like a homeless bum with a 70s porn star mustache. What is going on with this guy?
I don't know.
I think he's too volatile. You know what it is when he has the confidence, he's a great player. But once you take that confidence away from him, he's garbage. He's an extremely volatile player. Like, he can be great in the right situation, but he plays for the Browns, and the Browns are a factory of sadness. That being said, I'm taking the Bills on the road.
It's almost like someone saw it coming when he got drafted. What a shot.
Yeah.
I am not convinced by these Browns at all. I'm not convinced by their coach. I'm not convinced by Baker. Listen, Baker looked good year one. He has the talent. We know it. A lot of people have had the talent, and they failed because they haven't been consistent. And nothing more important, or no more position where it's more important to be consistent than the quarterback position. Again, a lot of character issues. People don't like me bringing it up. No one's liked me bringing it up since he got drafted. Character issues are a thing.
Oh yeah,
especially a quarterback. The quarterback position amplifies character issues. And listen, I'm not trying to allege any more than I know, but we know that Baker Mayfield spent the majority of his offseason shooting commercials. And we know that a guy like Lamar Jackson did the exact opposite. Lamar Jackson was on the practice field throwing the football. And right now we're seeing the results of that. Baker's at 57 ads right now. And he hasn't even built his brand to that point. He's already mentally in a mogul phase. But you can't do that if you're not going to perform, and it's going to come back to you. You've seen that. He's gotten a lot. He took a lot of shots, both obviously physically, but also just verbally.
Oh yeah.
Because right now he's talking a better game than he's playing, and the way he's acting, it's not going to help stabilize any type of organization. And by the way, the blame doesn't only belong to Baker. Look at guys like Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham. You bring those guys in because they're veterans, because they're great players. And can you stop wearing distracting shoes, wear a distracting face mask? It's going to cause the refs to come into your locker room and interrupt your coach telling you can't wear this. Come on. You got to wear a watch while you're playing. You're better than that. All those distractions. And then you have a coach who... That stuff wouldn't happen on the Bill Belichick locker room. I'm just going to say that much.
Oh, no. So, not at all. Not even Sean Payton or... I wouldn't even think...
With that entire rant being over, I'm going to agree with you, and I'm going to pick the Bills because they have been a lot more consistent and they have much better defense. And I think the Browns will continue to struggle and underachieve massively. How about the Ravens and Bengals?
Well, there's not much to discuss about this. Lamar just threw his name in the MVP. I know we brought it up last week, and I really believe that he has a shot, and he cemented that shot. We can't go ahead and say he's going to win it because we really don't know how the postseason is going to play out, but Lamar is amazing. He is amazing. I mean,
he is.
He's no Deshaun Watson, but he's amazing.
He's pretty good.
I really like Lamar Jackson, man. And the Bengals are on the exact opposite path, and I don't even know who they're going to trot out for quarterback, but it doesn't matter. The Ravens are going to destroy the Bengals.
His name is Ryan Finley, and Smokey, you try to argue that way with the Saints and the Falcons. This is your real trap game.
No, I know. I'm
telling you right now.
I'm sorry. I know Ryan Finley. My point being, I didn't know if they were planning to use Ryan Finley or Andy Dalton.
He's starting.
For sure.
It's been announced. Andy Dalton has been benched, yes. Okay. Ryan Finley is starting.
Okay.
And this is your real trap game this week. I'm going to say this first. I'm picking the Ravens. I'm going to pick the Ravens. This game is going to come down to one possession. This game is going to go the distance. This is going to be a closer game than anyone thinks. Mm-hmm. Because of the past that those teams are from. Mm-hmm. And because of one team is coming off of beating the best team in the conference, the Patriots, taking down that behemoth. The other team is coming from nothing, undergoing a change, new starting rookie quarterback. This is the classic formula for a trap game. And I'm going to think the Patriots, the Ravens are going to win it because they're much better coached, they're much better organized, they're going to find a way. It's going to be a close game, though. Lions and Bears.
Yeah, well, I can't keep buying in on the Lions. I mean, I've wanted to believe in them all season, but they keep finding ways to lose games.
All season, every season.
Yeah, it's the Lions. The Lions and the Browns are what the Lions and the Browns are, and I guess we're never going to get past that point. I love Matt Stafford. I love Kenny Galladay. Those guys are amazing. I don't believe in Matt Nagy or Mitchell Trubisky, but I do believe they win this game at home.
The Bears do?
Yes.
Key is obviously defense, and the more you make the point about home games, I usually try to not look at it that much, but the more you make those points, the more I want to believe and factor it in. I'm not going to do it this time. I'm going to pick the Lions. Maybe against my better judgment. I think it's almost a 50-50 game, honestly. I think I tend more strongly towards the more competent quarterback over home field advantage. So I'm going to pick Matthew Stafford in this one. But I'm open to losing that, so I accept that. Mm-hmm. Dolphins and Colts.
Well, this is another game where it doesn't matter who starts because we really don't know if it's going to be Brissett or if it's going to be Brian Hoyer or if they have a magic third stringer that they want to throw out there. Maybe
Chad was also a former Patriot.
Yeah, well, Chad Kelly would be their third stringer right now. So even if they threw him out there, you know what? I can't even say that anymore. I can't even say that because we just saw Ryan Fitzpatrick take a game into his hands and win.
Listen, the Dolphins have a longer win streak going than the Colts right now.
Yeah.
Talk about trends.
But I still think the Dolphins are tanking either way. You know, maybe they pulled one off to give the fan base hope for next season. Maybe Ryan Fitzpatrick got tired of losing. Whatever happened there. Maybe Kenyon Drake was the problem and they got rid of him. But either way, I can't go with the Dolphins in this. I think the Colts are still going to take this one at home.
Well, considering how Kenyon Drake played for the Cardinals' first game after being there for four days, if that's your problem, that's a good problem to have. I think the problem is with the people using Kenyon Drake in Miami.
Yeah.
That seemed to be more of the problem there.
Pretty sure.
On the first call. Gotta go with the Colts, though. No reason to pick the Dolphins again. Dolphins, Jets, depleted teams, both are terrible. That game doesn't really tell you much, so I'll take the Colts. They're looking in the playoff race as a must-win game, and should be doable in Indianapolis here. Rams and the Steelers.
Well, toughest division in football right now. The Rams are still in this thing, and have you noticed how the trajectory of the Rams mirrored the Falcons after their Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And I think it's going to come down to that. You know, the Falcons ended up getting into the playoffs through the wild card the very next season, and that's what it looks like is going to happen here with the Rams. I think 3 teams get in the playoffs from the West, and the Rams are going to be one of those teams. I think this is a get-right game for the Rams because the Steelers are not looking good whatsoever. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a get-right game. It's going to be on the road. It's going to be in Pittsburgh. It's probably going to be really cold. But the California kid's going to have to man up in the cold and take this game from the Steelers.
Does he strike you like the guy to do that?
Not necessarily, but I think he has it in him. I don't know. I'm not a Jared Goff fan, but that team, I mean, you still have one of the best coaches in the league, and you still have a team full of superstars. Like, you should be able to win this game.
The Steelers started the season 0-3. They're 4-4 now. Mm-hmm. They seem to have turned something around. They beat the Colts. are the Steelers in that wild card race in the AFC? I think right now the Steelers have just as good of a shot at the playoffs as the Rams, just because of how weak the AFC is compared to NFC. And I said before, again, NFC West, strongest division, yes. Potential for 3 playoff spots, yes, but not with a 500 or barely above 500 record. The NFC is too strong for that. You got the Vikings looking at the playoffs in the North. The NFC is just too. So again, the NFC East is not very good. So we might just have no team finish higher than 9-7 in that division, maybe. But 5-3 is not the aspiration for the Rams here. I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna go with your pick of the Rams. I think it's gonna be a close game though, and I wouldn't mind, and I wouldn't be hugely surprised if the Pittsburgh Steelers found a way to pull this out and actually win this game. And then it's gonna be really interesting because then all the wildcard races are getting into the interesting phase there. But Panthers and Packers.
Panthers and Packers. Panthers coming off a win. Packers coming off a loss. I think Aaron Rodgers just had a really bad game there, man. I still think these Packers are what we think they are. You know, everybody has a bad game from time to time. You know, there's, elements, whatever. You know, his girlfriend broke up with him. Whatever happened. I think Aaron Rodgers can put it back together. And he's playing at home here. Panthers and Kyle Allen, they're decent for what they are. We just found out that Cam Newton is not coming back this season. So there's no risk.
On IR.
Yes, no risk of that happening. Kyle Allen is serviceable, but not a superstar. If we want to go with your argument and say we're going for the better quarterback, we're definitely going with the Packers in this one.
We definitely are, and so by the way, Kyle Allen, in my opinion, is the starter for the Panthers, and I think Cam Newton has played his last game for the Panthers. Let the speculation begin, but that's my 2 cents on that. And yes,
big possibility.
Yeah, the Packers lost a fluke game against an underachieving, underrated Chargers game, who, by the way, are beating the Raiders this week because they're underrated and have underachieved so far, as opposed to the Raiders. I don't even know why I brought that up. The Packers are going to win this game. They're at home. They are more familiar with the weather conditions, and they're going to be hot because a guy like Aaron Rodgers doesn't do this back to back. He wouldn't be Aaron Rodgers if he did. So, Packers are going to bounce back, going to beat the Panthers. They're going to stay in that race for a potential first round bye. And not lastly, one more coming up: Vikings and the Cowboys.
Yeah, and apparently Jerry Jones or somebody has some witchcraft going on because they were losing this game to the Giants, and then this black cat trots out on the field and changes the game entirely to where the Cowboys blew out the Giants.
Yeah,
and
this reminded me.
This is voodoo, man.
Remember the blackout?
Oh,
the blackout in the Super Bowl when the Ravens were just blowing out the Niners and the lights go out for like an hour. And they start a huge comeback. Kind of reminded me of that. Yeah, that was a funny incident there with the cat. I didn't see it live, but I definitely looked at it. Yeah, I think Jerry Jones decided to release Mr. Biggles when he was realizing that that they were losing there.
Mr. Biggles.
It worked. I can totally see Jerry Jones being the kind of like the sort of like cartoonish bad guy. He just, sits on his throne stroking a black cat and like, it's all coming together. That sort of thing. So, yeah, worked out for the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, still have questions about him. Ezekiel Elliott is fantastic. This game, by the way, did you make a pick?
I didn't, but I'm going with the Cowboys at home.
All right. Go with the Cowboys at home. All right, let me pick the Vikings then. Because I think that quarterback-wise, those teams are almost as equal as it gets. I think Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, same thing. There's barely a difference when it comes down to it. Those are very similar teams, man. Strong running game, great running back, solid defense, average quarterback play on the bubble in the NFC. I'll take Mike Zimmer. I will take the great head coach, the very smart, very well communicating defense over Jason Garrett. I just have to. It's gonna be a close one, but that's what's gonna make the difference to me. And finally, the game of the week potentially. We talked about the NFC West. We have the Seahawks at San Francisco on Monday night.
Yeah, and this should be the game of the week right here. I mean, it's great that this is happening on Monday night because you're having the 49ers look better than they have in 2 decades. Well, I guess you could throw the Kaepernick days in there, but I don't think they were quite this good. They definitely didn't have the defense that they have right now. On the other hand, you have Russell Wilson, who is the front runner for the MVP now, and having the season of his career, as I've mentioned multiple times. This should be a really good game. I think it's going to be a high score, and maybe even, I guess you could call it a shootout, but I think the teams are going to do it through different fashions, whereas Russell is probably going to be throwing a lot. I think the 49ers are going to run a lot, and run they will. I see a lot of touchdowns in this game, and I'm going with the 49ers at home, and you should like that.
Well, Jimmy Garoppolo just put up the best quarterback performance of his career and of the entire week in the NFL. 136 pass rating, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks. Yeah, he's good. He's pretty good, and the reason that he doesn't do this every week is because he doesn't have to. Same reason that Brady doesn't. Same reason that Drew Brees doesn't do it every week, because they don't have to. If he has to do it, he can do it. We've seen that now. We've seen it before, but not on this type of stage. Not in this type of situation. And by the way, the Niners, during the Kaepernick days, did have that type of defense, too. They had a legally defense. That was during the Patrick Willis days and Justin Smith, if you remember those types of guys. So
yeah,
that was
were they this
defense.
Dominant? Really? I mean,
I don't know if they were. I don't know if they were this, but they was close though. It was close. This defense right now is still on the path of breaking all sorts of records. Nick Bosa is currently, fun fact, Nick Bosa has the highest percentage of quarterback pressures other than former 49ers bust Alden Smith. And he right now is also on the way of breaking Alden Smith's total rookie season pressure and sack record. And hopefully stay out of off-field trouble and not make bomb threats at airports. That would be fantastic. But I don't think I'm not going to be worried about that right now. This game is going to be amazing. I'm obviously picking the Niners. Can't pick against a team that hasn't lost. But I'm going to put the bet though. I'm definitely going to put a can on the Seahawks here because this is close enough for me to absolutely do this. I'm really looking forward to this game.
Oh yeah,
beating the Cardinals was more of a monkey off the backbone than a lot of people realize. 49ers, the Cardinals were the team in the NFC West that the 49ers hadn't beaten in the longest time, 4 years. 49ers haven't beat the Cardinals in 4 years. They beat the Seahawks last year. They just beat the Rams this year. They haven't beat the Cardinals in a while. And it's time to sweep this division. It's time to take the West back. And the Seahawks they're a thorn in the side because they're really good. Russell Wilson is fantastic. Taking the Niners because they're overall much better. Overall, a slightly better team. Better defense. More consistent offensive play calling. But Russell Wilson can compensate for a lot of issues. And it's going to be a good one. Absolutely. So, that's predictions for Week 10. I think I'm pretty confident in this one. I don't know, man. How do you feel?
Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna sweep this one. I'm going 100% on this one. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not gonna be a 500 week for me. This is gonna be a 1,000 week for me.
I'd be down because then it would be a very good week for me also. But we have some disagreements.
Yeah, it's not quite possible for us both to go 1,000. So I think I got you here.
All right, yeah, we'll see about that next week then.
Oh yeah.
By the way, I'm gonna just bring this up because we're halfway through. The 49ers record bet we made before the season. I don't know if you recall. We set the over/under at 8.
Yes, we did.
And after the shortest possible amount of time, you're already out of it because they're 8-0. So, do you want to officially resign that bet?
What do you mean? It's over. I mean, yeah, they're not gonna lose. Somehow go negative in games.
They could lose every game. They could lose every game, and then we'd be tied.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they could if they lost every game from this point on. I mean, then the bet would be null. But
yeah, let's not make.
I definitely can't win the bet. That's for sure.
Yes, so let's not make that happen. Bets are going to be fun, by the way. End of the season, we're going to have a lot of bets to discuss, and it's actually pretty close. I looked at it recently. A lot of them in the balance still. A lot of them are decided. A lot of them still in the balance still, so that's going to be fun. But let's quickly get back to some of the more surprising upsets we've seen in the past week. We obviously talked about the Patriots and the Ravens, but I would argue that the Packers game, losing in the fashion that they did to the Chargers, was probably the biggest upset of the week.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the general public is going to definitely say the Ravens and Patriots because someone figured out a way to beat that amazing defense. But
yes.
I guess if you're looking at quarterback play, definitely the biggest upset as far as that goes, because that did not look like the Aaron Rodgers that we know and love, for sure. But like I said,
does that put a dent in his MVP campaign?
Yeah, I think it does. I think that's why right now Russell Wilson stands out as the one and only. You know, he's number one, and then there's a gap between number 2 and 3, which are pretty close. You know, when you take Lamar and Aaron and Deshaun into account, and even Patrick, you know, when he comes back, I'm sure he's right there in the mix. But
he's missed a lot of games at this point. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. But
he's missed a lot of games.
I don't think Patrick wins it this year. I think it's Russell Wilson or Lamar Jackson or Deshaun Watson at this point. But I still think Aaron is in the mix with those 3.
I'm not going to write him off because remember just last week we were sitting here talking about the same conversation saying, oh, it's close. Aaron Rodgers might be just a hair in front of everyone else. Now he has a bad week. The other guys have a good week. Now it's the other way around again. Russell Wilson might score 7 points this week. He might get destroyed by that defense. You don't know. We might look at it a different way next week. Lamar Jackson did great. Obviously, you put 37 on the Patriots defense.
Yeah,
he put more troubles. He presented the Patriots defense with more trouble than all other 8 teams before him have combined. You got to let that sink in. That is insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was an incredible performance. The thing you got to think about though, are you looking in the future? Obviously, the playoff picture. Ravens obviously established themselves.
Yes.
This sort of thing doesn't happen twice against Bill Belichick. No one's done it twice. Patrick Mahomes hasn't. Deshaun Watson hasn't. You could beat the Patriots in the regular season. You could do a lot of things to them. That same thing is not going to happen because Bill's going to make sure that isn't going to happen once we meet in the playoffs. So right now, Patriots, Ravens, in a hypothetical AFC Championship game, who do you give the advantage to?
Oh, I would definitely go with the Patriots again because just for the reason you say. I mean, we can see this throughout the course of history in the NFL and even college. I mean, very rarely does a underrated team put one over on the monster team and then they have to play again in the same season and do it over again. It does not happen. I mean, the teams usually figure it out, you know, and especially when you get embarrassed in that way. You know, people were calling this the 2000 Ravens defense, the 86 or 85 Bears. I always say 86, but
better than all of those, by the way, statistically. Yeah.
Yes, and one man came along and made them look foolish. They looked like they forgot their entire scheme somehow.
One second-year running quarterback.
Exactly. I mean, and we can chalk that up to Lamar being great, which he is. He's a phenomenal quarterback. He's
incredible.
Yeah, probably the best running quarterback we've ever seen. I mean, RG3, even Mike Vick, I don't think they were quite as good of running as, you know, quite as elusive as Lamar is. And
see the thing with the main difference and the key part why that is correct what you said is that those guys we're talking about, Mike Vick, Colin Kaepernick, those were running quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson is a quarterback who happens to be able to run, and that's the fine difference that we talk about. When people are skeptic about this type of quarterback, it's usually because they're an athlete first. They're an athletic football player, and they play quarterback. As opposed to a guy like Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, and Cam Newton at some points. A real quarterback who just so happens to be very athletic, the most athletic on the field. And that makes something special. Mike Vick was a runner. You know that. He played quarterback. He was a runner, right?
Yes.
Robert Griffin, he was a runner. Colin Kaepernick, they were runners.
Yes.
They played quarterback. Lamar Jackson is a quarterback that can run. So that is an important distinction because he can dot you up. He can play from the pocket. He's worked on that. That was one of his weaknesses, and that's exactly what I meant before, what I hinted at, the mental state of players. My two main criticisms when that draft class came out of Lamar Jackson was he didn't have the highest intelligence, scored 13 on the Wonderlic. That is very low for a quarterback. That's almost concerning. And he's a runner. He is an athletic guy. He's not the best passer. And guess what happened? It took him 2 years, but he's got the playbook down. It took him 2 years, but he's got his mental game right. As opposed to the guy in Cleveland who was busy shooting 50 commercials in the stadium. And he's been working on the mental game. He's been working on the passing game. He's using his legs, his athletic ability as an extension of his quarterback play. And that is the fine line.
Maybe he's been taking night classes and trying to improve his Wonderlic score.
He might. Well, right now the Wonderlic doesn't matter anymore.
It doesn't.
Wonderlic usually is it's a relatively weak metric.
I don't think it ever
concerning
really meant
football anyway.
Yeah.
I like to look at it for quarterbacks though. Again, there's examples of terrible. Listen, Frank Gore had a Wonderlic score of 3. And have you took the Wonderlic? It's like basic math. It's like you got 6 apples. I take 2. How many apples you got? That sort of thing. Some of those questions are. And Frank Gore is all-time good running back. I like to look at it for quarterbacks. Josh Allen, by the way, had the highest. He scored in the high 30s, very, very high. A tendency is that a lot of high Wonderlic scoring quarterbacks tend to do good, and especially a lot of the good quarterbacks in the NFL over a long time tend to have high Wonderlic scores because they're that type of player. Lamar Jackson didn't have one. What he does have is football intelligence, and he put the work into learning to run that offense. And that when it comes down to it is the more important part there, because Baker Mayfield didn't do that, and a lot of other people who might have come in more intelligent as from just a book smart sort of standard haven't put the work into to translate it into NFL football type of smarts. And yes, I love Lamar Jackson. Love the way he's been playing this year, and the Ravens might be the dark horse right now for the Super Bowl in the AFC. Because, I mean, they've beat the Patriots, and the question you always... I mentioned it. Usually it doesn't happen twice, especially if it's Bill Belichick. But you got to ask yourself, is Lamar different? Is he different from all the other guys who have tried and failed?
Yeah. Are you referring to this season or overall?
In general. Because no one's done it yet. No. Can he do it?
Well... If he continues to improve like he has, then maybe so. Maybe he can continue on this. I mean, the guy's gotten better each week that we've watched him play this season. I know he came out and balled out week 1, threw his 4 or 5 touchdown passes, but that was to Miami. And then we saw him regress to the mean a little more like we expected. But since that, he took a couple L's in weeks 4 and 5, I believe it was, something like that. But since that, we have seen this guy improve on a weekly basis. And there's one thing, if you look at coaches, I think coaches a lot of times get in their own head when they have to face Bill Belichick. But there's one guy in Jim Harbaugh who probably doesn't...
John Harbaugh.
Yeah. What did I say?
Important distinction, maybe not for many
Jim,
people, but for me there is.
Yeah, and Michigan, of course. Yeah. Which he might be fired by the end of the season. But John Harbaugh, the brother, doesn't... I mean, he comes from a coaching tree, a family, I don't think he sees Belichick... I think he sees him more as a peer rather than Darth Vader standing on the other side.
God, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Which has been the case for a lot of people, man. You looked at Sean McVay, people who have collapsed in the face of that.
Sean McVay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that last year.
Yeah. I mean, Adam Gase. Adam Gase
okay,
have 1 or 2 home wins over him, though, in his tenure in Miami. But the only 2 that I can think of that haven't fallen to the great and almighty powerful Bill Belichick is John Harbaugh and Andy Reid. And Andy Reid's had a lot of success.
Andy Reid also never really the important success though. In playoff games, he's usually come off short.
That's true. But we have seen him get those regular season wins over Belichick regularly. And I'd have to look at the record, but he may actually have more wins than losses to Bill Belichick overall.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yes.
If that's true, yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up, but just going off memory, I would say that. But yeah, I mean, it's possible. It's possible that they could pull off another win, but I wouldn't put money on it right offhand.
So right now, if you had to guess, gun to your head, and if the winner of the AFC Championship game.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily going to be the Ravens and the Patriots, but if it is those 2, I would have to right on the spot pick the Patriots.
So, but if it's not the Ravens, what other team do you think has better chances?
Well, I think the Chiefs. I think it's you know what? It could be a scenario where the Chiefs go down to the Patriots in the regular season, which kind of negates my whole spiel about Randy Reid being able to beat the Patriots. But then again, you could come back in the playoffs and get one over on the Patriots.
Because that seems like a good idea. That seems like a very likely scenario, right?
Yes, and then you could see the Ravens and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. The AFC
usually always the other way around. Usually the Patriots always get one over on you in the playoffs when it really matters. So if I had to say right now, man, Patriots after this game, they're not as good as they used to be, but it has to be. I have to see it once. The Patriots have been to the AFC Championship game for 8 straight years. I have to see it once. I have to see it happen. I have to see someone go to Foxborough in the playoffs and just beat that team. Just play better than them. Outcoach them. Outplay them. Just beat them. And I think the Ravens can do it. They showed that they can do it in general. Did it obviously in the regular season. Gotta do it in the playoffs. So until I see it with my own eyes, because I haven't yet, I can't pick it. But we are still obviously far removed from that.
Well,
so yeah,
and I really think that it's most likely going to be the Patriots going to the Super Bowl to represent the AFC once again. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate and looking at some scenarios where it might not happen. But, and the Chiefs thing, that's a long shot, because the only reason I'm saying that is because it definitely is hard to beat the Patriots twice in one season.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're going to beat them, it's most likely going to be in the regular season and not in the playoffs. But I think the last time they were beaten in the AFC in the playoffs was Peyton Manning, as a matter of fact. So unless we're going to resurrect a Manning corpse to play against the Patriots in the playoffs, I don't think anybody's beating them. I mean, maybe Nick Foles will pull something out again. I don't know.
You think he's starting? By the way, he's been declared the starter for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes, poor
after
Minshew
being reactivated.
Well, Minshew.
Yeah, so there goes. I guess there goes our prediction of Minshew being Offensive Rookie of the Year and whatnot.
Exactly. Yeah, he crapped the bed. I mean.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
That was not a pretty showing in London against the Texans there. So at the worst possible moment too. But I still think though, honestly, long term he's going to be the starter. I think Minshew's going to be the guy. Maybe not this year. Maybe not for the next couple of weeks. But maybe starting next year, he's going to have to be the guy, I think.
Yeah, I think they probably trade away Foles in the offseason and I mean, they're going to use him right now because of the money they're paying him, and because Minshew is not exactly winning every game. But yeah, I could see Minshew coming back next season as the starter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. Let's quickly hop into the NFC, though, before we get off of this. We had the Packers, obviously, throwing a bit of a wrench in there with that big loss against the Chargers. Does it take credit away, do you think, from the sort of the credibility of that team? Are the Packers still a hot contender for the NFC Championship game, or did they have a couple of pretty important flaws exposed against LA there?
Well, they definitely had some flaws exposed, but I don't think these are new flaws. I think these are the same thing we have seen in the past couple years from them. But I don't think this takes away from their run. I think that Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys that when it comes down to time to be clutch, he's going to be clutch, and he's going to put the team on his back, and that's what he's always done. Devontae Adams is getting healthier, so hopefully in the coming weeks he's not going to be throwing to practice squad guys and hitting his favorite target, and he's always done that, by the way. If you've noticed, Aaron Rodgers has always had a favorite target. For the longest time, It was Jordy Nelson.
Jordy Nelson.
I think he picked that up from Brett Favre, who he played. I mean,
even before that, back in the day, Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, and Jordy Nelson.
Exactly.
It's always been the guy, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think now that Devontae Adams is back, it's going to give him a little bit of comfort out there, and knowing that you can throw a guy like Devontae Adams open rather than trying to get these guys. These are practice squad guys. I mean, no offense to Alan Lazard and these guys, but they're not Devontae Adams. They're not even Randall Cobb. Which
that's true. I think that's a very good point, and I think looking long term to kind of close that point for the NFC, for the Packers. Devontae Adams is a key player more so than we've thought about so far, because we've always been talking Aaron Rodgers, obviously Aaron Jones, the improved defense, but realistically looking, NFC playoff picture is going to come down to this: can Devontae Adams cause problems one-on-one against Marshawn Lattimore, Richard Sherman? If he has to be continuously doubled, that is a whole different type of game. For a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, and if those two guys can take it, if they can take him on one-on-one, I think those teams have very good shots against the Packers, because other than Aaron Rodgers, that offense is a lot more limited than other NFC offenses. That's just the matter of the fact. But if not, and with Devontae Adams fully healthy, being back, and of course Jimmy Graham is still also there, not his former self, but he's still there. It's a completely different story, and I think that's something definitely to watch. I'm not writing the Packers off at all because it's Aaron Rodgers. I'm never going to write Aaron Rodgers off because he's Aaron Rodgers. That's sort of it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's the closest that it gets to circular reasoning, really, when you're talking about Aaron Rodgers. You're not writing him off because it's Aaron Rodgers. That's basically the entire premise there. And with a serviceable defense we've seen before, he can go all the way. So that being said, the NFC is looking incredibly stacked, and the Packers, even at the record, they are 7-2, and it might stay around that sort of vicinity. Might not be enough for a first round bye, with both Saints and Niners just looking almost unbeatable, and you have so many other teams coming strong. The Packers are going to have no easy playoff games. As a matter of fact, no NFC team will have an easy playoff game because of how loaded the conference is. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Right now, I don't know if we're going to do this every week, but if I had to pick a Super Bowl matchup right now, I might still take the Packers. I might still go Packers-Patriots. Very tough to estimate. It's going to be a lot of things are going to be revealed after those top clashes there in the NFC, because the Niners are going to play the Packers and they're going to play the Saints. Relatively soon. They're also going to play the Falcons. Not the Falcons. Yeah, they are going to play the Falcons, but that's not what I meant to say. No, that's not what I meant to say. They are, yes. Yeah. That's true. We should watch that together or something. I don't know. No, I meant to say they're going to play the Ravens, which is going to be a fun test, and obviously the Seahawks twice, starting next Monday. But after those games are through, I think we'll have a better understanding of the NFC hierarchy right now. By the way, Patriots are down 2 spots in the power rankings. They're at 3 after they lost 2. to the Ravens. 49ers and Saints number 1 and 2 right now. So NFC definitely looking very, very strong, as we expect in general for them to be a stronger conference. But
where did they have the Ravens? I haven't looked.
Oh, I haven't. I think they're at 5. I think the Ravens were 5, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, well,
I guess very close.
Yeah, well, I guess they're going by the adage that we came up with, that you can't beat the Patriots twice.
Yeah.
So that's
basically, yeah.
Probably why they didn't jump the Patriots in the power rankings.
Well, the Patriots came down from spot number 1. They still have a better record, you know. Ravens were kind of low.
True.
But I do like seeing the Niners at 1 at least since probably, I don't know, 5 years ago. Or at least 5 years ago. It's been a while. But yeah, the NFC is looking very strong. So that's kind of my closing thoughts there. By the way, just getting back to that bet, because I haven't asked you if you actually wanted to accept it. 1 can on the Seahawks. Are you in on that?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to write that down right after the show. As a matter of fact, I'm going to open that document. And but we are done for the day. We gave our predictions to the viewers. Obviously, put your predictions in the comments and discuss those with us. We'd be happy to answer. If we disagree on some relevant predictions, maybe you have a significant upset, I'd be very happy to hear that. If you are a viewer of Beyond Football, go check out the Trash Talkers at Smokey's channel, along with his home of Hollywood. They do a lot of great stuff, a lot of mix-up, but very entertaining. And if you're a trash talker, obviously come over to Beyond Football and check out some of my content. Maybe subscribe for more episodes of the Scoreboard, because those are coming up every week, and we have predictions throughout the entire regular season and the postseason. And it's a tight competition still. You got another point on me. No, we drew this week. So
yeah.
What is it? Still like 3-point lead for me or something?
3
it's very
points.
Close.
Yes, sir. 3 points.
Halfway through the season, that's nothing. I mean, that is.
Oh no.
You've seen hundreds of games is what we see during an NFL regular season, and we're this close. I mean, that either means we're both very, very good or very mediocre. I don't know, but I like to think we're doing fine so far, as long as we don't repeat weeks like this one too much. But as for now, thank you for watching. Drop a like on the video, obviously. Subscribe to both of our channels. And Smokey, do you have anything to add?
Nope, that'll be it for this week.
All right, then. Thank you for watching, everybody, and we're gonna see you in the next one.
Deuces.